what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy that.
Let's talk about LSU football a little bit here. And I know this feels randomly timed, you could argue, but I say no, because all these lists are starting to propagate and come about. And Jake, when you talk about expectations for next season, and we talk about LSU have the number one transfer portal class, 8 players of the top 100, all that sort of stuff. No other FBS team in the country had more because, well, quite frankly, the math says it'd be hard to, because one school almost got 10% of the guys. Returning quarterback, you just had Alex Atkins, a guy who 2 years ago was a Broyles Award winner OC for an undefeated borderline national championship team. You had him as your tight ends coach. Top to bottom, you have investment all over this team. Make no mistake, Jake. Last couple of years, the expectations have been maybe playoff adjacent, but it was never just like they have to. It was never just consensus agreement that they have to. Without a doubt, 100%, no argument to be had otherwise. LSU must make the playoffs next season, or they have failed. They've missed the mark.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. I think that is not just part of the conversation. It is the conversation now. And I think everybody around the program realizes that. And I think there's a lot of things that they are excited about. I caught up with BK yesterday, actually, at the Senior Bowl, and I know he's excited about the players that they're bringing in. He talked about how excited he is about the receiver room, and it has everything that you need, like every skill set you need in a receiver room, and they now have that. Of course, Garrett Nussmeier, but even he was talking to me, this was kind of off the air, about how excited he was about the offensive linemen getting those 15 bowl practices and then having the performance like they had in the game. And he talked about Miles Frazier kind of being their mentor and how much that meant to him, that Miles stuck around, mentored them, for those 15 practices. And he said, he goes, I think that really helped them. And so
that's crazy too, because that was a goal that Miles stated that he wanted to get accomplished.
Yeah. And so he actually, I think just talking to him again on and off the air yesterday, I think he really likes the position and where they're at and the additions that they've made. And I'm not saying that it's a perfect team, but you had deficiencies that a year ago you didn't really attack in the portal, and they attacked everything this year in the portal, and they said they were going to, and they got it done. And you're going to have to count on some young guys to step up at some positions. Offensive line, you had one good game. Now what can you do going out there for an entire season? But right now, with what they added, they did what they had to do up to this point.
Yeah.
And now you got to take what you've added, and you got to go into fourth quarter program, spring practice, summer workouts, fall camp, all of that. But the roster did feel a lot of the needs that it had, where last year we were sitting here, we were doing shows, we were like, who's going to play that position? Who's going to be the backup at this position? You don't have as much as you had a year ago, at least at this point as we sit here last day of January.
Well, and it's not just that you have a great staff, but it's year 2 for that defensive staff. You're getting Harold Perkins back against all odds. The rise of Whit Weeks. Again, through the portal, you seem to address all the efficiencies like Jake's talking about.
Like coming out of nowhere.
And it's not just us saying this either, because again, that's kind of what spurred this entire segment. Is you go on ESPN.com right now, you look at the ESPN College Football staff writers. They did their way too early predictions. LSU's in the playoff. You look at Bill Connolly, the main ESPN analytic creator of the S&P Plus. I love Bill's writing. He has LSU firmly in the playoff. You hop over to The Athletic, Jake, which they put a lot of money into college football. They had an article where they asked a bunch of 2025 questions, and they polled the entire staff. And when they were asked who's going to win the national championship next year, coming in first place with 15 votes, Texas. But who was second place? LSU with 4. Now, granted, you see the gap there, right? But to be the second place team ahead of Penn State, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, everybody else to receive those votes. Name 3 teams that'll make the playoffs 2024. That missed playoffs 24, make it in 25. LSU number 1 on that list, ahead of Alabama, Miami, Michigan, everybody else. So make no mistake, nationally, locally, The expectations are clear. It is time for LSU to make the playoffs, and there is no excuse when you have put everything together. And this will be the moment where I think you officially, if you have not yet, even though, again, I think I've said I've adjusted my ceiling, though the floor remains high, right? I have doubt in the Brian Kelly ceiling that I did not have before. But it is doubt at this point. I don't feel like it's a sure thing. If you fail to make it next year, then I don't know that I'll ever believe that you will.
I mean, and I think that would be fair because of the expanded playoff, because of who you are. And, when you look at 03, 07, 11, 19, like, it's time. Like, you're actually a little bit past where you normally have been. And so I think that would be a fair assessment. Is it going to be easy? No. You open up at Clemson. You got Florida early in the season. You got Ole Miss on the road early in the season. You got South Carolina after that. I mean, the schedule is the schedule. It is not going to be one where you can roll the helmets out there and just think you're going to get it done. And it starts in Little Death Valley against Clemson. And you have to win an opener.
Yeah.
If you want to make the playoff, you can't start behind the 8 ball again and be 0-1.
No. It's going to be
so hard to climb. And they've done a good job of climbing out of that.
But it has been the thing that's held them back every year.
Yes.
They still have done a good job of 2 years ago going 6-2 in the SEC or find a way to do this or that. But at the end of the day, every single year, the math dictated by that loss has been the thing that has held them back from much bigger and better goals.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm excited though. And again, I guess if you're like, T-Bob, what's the point of this here on January 31st? It's to say that nationally, the expectations are set. And let's all be very clear about the parameters around which we enter the offseason. And if you're one of these players, don't be scared of that expectation. Don't whine. Don't complain. Don't say it's unfair. Why else did you come here? You came here for that burden. So lean into it. Bow up and make it happen. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.